Good morning, hello, bon dia, benvinguts. Jo sóc la Sara Carline, sóc mestra d'anglès, però també explico contes. Explico contes en anglès per nens, nenes i adults, i avui explicaré contes per adults. Aquesta activitat està organitzada per la Biblioteca de Taradell. De fet, fa uns mesos ja vaig venir a la Biblioteca de Taradell a explicar històries d'Escòcia. I a l'abril havia d'haver vingut a explicar-vos històries d'arreu del món, stories from around the world. Degut a la situació no va ser possible i per tant ara aquesta activitat està organitzat amb un format diferent. És un format diferent però esperem que us pugui agradar igualment. Són històries en anglès, però no patiu, els explicaré d'una manera que seran fàcils d'entendre. Gràcies a la Biblioteca de Taradell i espero que us agradi. Hello everybody, my name is Sara and today I'm going to tell you some stories from different countries around the world. Now, I grew up in Scotland. Scotland is a country that has a very rich and a very varied tradition of oral storytelling. And in Scotland we say that the story is told eye to eye, mind to mind, and heart to heart. This is an old Scottish proverb. I'm going to repeat it. We say that the story is told eye to eye, mind to mind, and heart to heart. And I like to share this at the beginning of my storytelling sessions, partly because I think that this can help you to understand the stories. Now, what do I mean when I say that? This, of course, is for those of you listening who do not have a very high level of English, for those of you who maybe have problems understanding spoken English. Well, as you listen to these stories, try to remember these three things. Because if you think of eye to eye, well, watch me. I use facial expression, movement, body language to help you understand the stories. Then, mind to mind. Here, you need to think of the different things you already know in English, things that you've learned in English, but also anything you may know about the different countries, places, situations, and characters. This too can help you understand. And finally, heart to heart. If you can just relax, listen with your hearts, then I am sure that even if you don't understand all the words or all the expressions, because you won't, unless of course you have a high level of English, you won't understand all the words and all the expressions. But I think that if you can listen with your hearts, then you will understand enough to follow the stories and hopefully to enjoy them too. Now, stories, storytelling. You see, people have been telling stories for a very, very long time. In fact, always, for as long as we humans have existed, for as long as language has existed, people have always told stories. Well, I say always, but actually that may not be quite right. For you see, it seems there was a time, a long time ago, when there were no stories in the world. Why? Because the sky god up in the sky had taken all of the world's stories and he was keeping them up there in the sky for himself. Now, many people tried to get these stories back, to give them back to the people, but none of them, nobody managed, nobody was successful until Anansi decided to try. Anansi is a character who appears in many stories from Western Africa, very often in the shape and the form of a spider. Nancy decided that he was going to go up to the sky and get these stories back. Well, it took him a long time. It was very difficult. How he managed to do this, well, that's a story for another day. But now I would like to tell you the story of what happened once he had all these stories. For you see, when Anansi had got all the stories back from the sky god and was going to give them back to the people of the world, he changed his mind. He decided he wanted to keep the stories to himself. And so he took a big box and he put all these stories into the box and he put the lid on the box. He looked around, he saw a tall tree and he decided to put the box at the top of the tree. So he took this box and he tied it onto his front. Now, I don't know about you. I don't know if any of you listening have ever tried to climb a tree with a box or indeed any other kind of object on your front. But I have a feeling this is not a very practical way to climb a tree. And Anansi soon found out that as he climbed the tree, this box bumped and thumped and clumped against the tree trunk. Now, when Anansi was halfway up this tree, he heard laughing, and he looked down, and at the bottom of the tree was a group of children. And the children were laughing and they were pointing. And Anansi got angry and he said, "Hey children, what are you laughing at? You're not laughing at me, are you?" The children laughed. "Yes, Anansi, you are so silly. Why are you climbing this tree with the box tied on your front and not on your back?" Well, Anansi did not like being laughed at, so he was a bit angry. However, he thought that maybe the children were right. And so, halfway up the tree with his 8 legs, he tried to push this box around onto his back. As he did so, the lid fell off. The box opened and all the stories fell out. And they were picked up by a breeze. The wind carried these stories all around the world. And all over the world, stories came floating down to the ground like snowflakes. And these stories landed everywhere, all over the world. Some of these stories, I'm sure, came floating down here in Taradell, in other places in Osona, in Catalonia. And so it was that the people of the world once again had stories to tell, stories to listen to, stories to share. And as the people told these stories, they realized many things about stories and the importance of storytelling. They found that as the stories were told, they changed. And as people moved around the world, stories moved and were told in different ways. So it is that today we often find the same story told in different versions, or different versions of the same story told in different countries. And people also realized that stories can be funny, they can be entertaining, but they can also be serious. They can teach us many things. Stories can help us to understand the world around us, and stories can help us to pass on tradition, to pass on history. And stories can bring people together, create community. And so, with those words, I would now like to tell you a story that comes from India. This story is called How the old woman got her wish. And in this story, there is one word that is a very important word. So I would now like to show you a picture. This is gold. So the word gold or golden, any object made of gold can be called golden. For example, a golden ring or a golden bowl. Now, many years ago, in a village in the south of India, there lived an old woman. And this old woman was blind. That means that she could not see. She was very poor. She lived with her son, her son's wife, her daughter-in-law, and they were very poor. She was very religious, and so every day she prayed to the gods. And especially she prayed to Ganesh. Ganesh is the Indian elephant-headed god. And one day, as she finished her prayers, she heard a voice. And this voice said, old woman, I, Ganesh, am here. I have heard your prayers, and I am here to answer them. So, tell me, I will grant you one wish. What do you most want? What do you wish for? The old woman did not know what to say. Ganesh, she said. Oh, I am a poor woman, yes, but I do not know. I do not know what to ask for. Well, Ganesh said, you can think about this. You can speak to your family. You can ask them for advice or your friends. I will return tomorrow and you can tell me tomorrow what you wish for. And so Ganesh disappeared and the old woman went to speak to her son, and she said, my son, you know that I, your mother, are a very religious woman. I am very religious. I pray every day. Well, today, Ganesh appeared before me and offered to grant me one wish. But I don't know what to ask for. Mother, said her son, why, that is easy. You must wish for gold. Then we will always have money to go to the market, to buy food, to buy everything we need. Then she asked her daughter-in-law the same question. Her daughter-in-law said, oh, that is easy. You know how much I and your son, of course, your son, long for a child. You must wish for a grandson, for a grandson. Well, the old woman was still not sure. And so she went to speak to her friend, her neighbour, and she told her neighbour this. Her neighbour shook her head and said, no, she said, no. Your son and his wife, they have told you what they want, but that is not what you want. You are an old woman, yes, but you are not so old. You can still live for many years. So I think you should wish to see. You should ask for your sight. And in that moment, the old woman knew that that was what she most wanted. How she longed to see the blue skies, the green leaves on the trees and the plants, and the bright colours on the other women's dresses. But she was a kind and generous woman, and so now she asked herself, what can I do? For my son to be happy, I must wish for gold. For my daughter-in-law to be happy, I must wish for a child, for a grandson. For myself to be happy, I must wish to see. And she thought about this. She thought long and hard. And the next day, when Ganesh appeared before her again, well, she knew exactly what she wanted. And when Ganesh said, "Old woman, do you know what it is? Do you know what you wish for?" She knew exactly what she wanted. And she said, "Yes, Ganesh, I wish to see my grandson drinking milk from a golden bowl." And Ganesh laughed and he said, "Why, old woman, you have tricked me, for that is not one wish, but 3. But very well then, you have made me laugh, and I will grant you this." And so it was that this old woman in the south of India got her wish, or should I say, her 3 wishes. Thank you. I'm sorry, I need to drink a little bit of water. Sorry. Well, now, if you would like to continue listening, I have another story for you. This story is from Scotland. This story is a traveller's tale. So the travellers living in Scotland had and still have many, many different stories. And one of these travellers, a well-known traveller and an absolutely amazing storyteller called Duncan Williamson. Well, in the 1980s, Duncan Williamson allowed many of the stories that originally were part of the oral tradition of storytelling in Scotland. He let many of these stories be published in different books. So it's thanks to Duncan Williamson and to these collections of his tales that I can share this story from Scotland with you today. This story is called Jack Goes Back to School. Now, Jack was a traveller. As a traveller, of course, Jack travelled, and all through his life he travelled and had and lived many different experiences and adventures. But as he grew older and his wife was no longer with him, he decided to go and live with his youngest daughter and her children. And the family were very happy. The children loved their grandfather, for he told amazing stories of his travels and his adventures. Now, Jack realized very quickly that his daughter was very poor. The family were very poor, and he wanted to be able to help them. So he decided to start digging and to plant and grow some vegetables, maybe potatoes, onions, or carrots in the little garden in front of the house. And one day he was in this garden, he was digging and digging, when he heard the sound of horses, clip, clop, clip, clop, and he looked up, and there were these horses pulling a carriage, and sitting on the carriage were these 2 men, looking very important with their black coats and tall black hats, and the carriage passed. But Jack watched the carriage, and he saw that further along down the track, he saw something falling off the back of this carriage. And so when the carriage had left, Jack went onto the track, and he found on the track, he found a bag, and he opened the bag, This bag was full of coins, of gold coins, of money, more money than Jack had ever seen in all his life. And he took this bag and he went back to the house and he put the bag under his bed. And that night he thought about this for a long time. For you see, of course Jack wanted to keep this money. Jack knew that these two men who had gone past on the carriage were none other than the king's tax collectors, collecting taxes from the people to give to the king. And although Jack really wanted to keep this money to help his family, Jack was an honest man. And he thought for a long time about how he could keep this money in an honest way and not get into trouble, not have any problems, but keep this money honestly. Well, late at night, the idea came to him. And the next morning, he came down to breakfast and he told the family that that day he wanted to go to school. He said, "Today I am going to go to school with the children." "Father," said Jack's daughter, "you are too old. You can't go to school." "Nobody is ever too old to learn," said Jack. "Please, I need some scissors to cut my trousers." In those days, boys had to wear shorts to go to school. And so Jack cut his trousers, he wore shorts, he took a bag, and with his grandchildren, he went to school. The teacher was surprised to see him, of course, but he was made welcome at school. The children loved him because he told them great stories and he sang songs to them too. But the next day, when his grandchildren said, "Come on, Grandpa, it's time to go to school," Jack said, "No, you go to school. I went to school yesterday. Today, I am going to work in the garden." And so the children went to school and Jack started digging in the garden again. Now, sure enough, it wasn't long before he heard the sound of horses again, clippity-clop, and he looked up and there was this carriage pulled by horses. This time it stopped in front of the house and the two men, important looking men with their tall hats and their black clothes, looked at Jack and said, "Good morning, old man. We are the king's tax collectors and we lost a bag. This bag fell off our carriage. Do you know where this bag is? Have you seen a bag?" "Oh," said Jack, "well, in fact, I have. I saw you pass here and I saw a bag fall off your carriage." "Oh," said the men, "and do you know where this bag is now?" "Oh, yes," said Jack. "You see, I opened the bag. It was full of money, lots and lots of money. So I took this bag, I took it home and I put it under my bed and it's under my bed now." The two men looked at each other. They weren't quite sure if this old man was really, how shall I say it? Well, maybe if he was quite right in his head, but they looked at him and they said, "I see, so this bag of money is now under your bed." "Oh yes," said Jack, "the bag of money is under my bed." "Ah, and could you tell us, you see, when did this happen? When did you find this bag of money?" Jack said, "Well, I found the bag of money that I put under my bed. I found it the day before I went to school." "The day before you went to school?" said the men. "Oh yes, the day before I went to school." The two men looked at each other and then one of them said to Jack, I see. And how old are you? I'm 84 years old. I think that's right. 84 years old. Yes, 84. And the two men looked at each other and shook their heads. And they said to Jack, well, in that case, are you sure you are 84 years old and you found this bag of money the day before you went to school? Yes, that's right, said Jack. I found this money the day before I went to school. Well, said the two men, in that case, that bag is not the bag we are looking for. You can keep it. You can have that bag. We are going to look for our bag. And the two men left, shaking their heads to look for the bag of money. Jack, of course, was very happy because now all this money was his money. He had got this money in an honest way, and now he had money to help his family so that they had food and everything they needed for the rest of their days. And now I need to drink a little bit of water, I'm sorry. Well, it's nearly time to finish, so I would like to tell you just one more story. This story is called Tail End. Now, I don't know if you know, but the word tail in English has two meanings. For you see, tail spelt T-A-L-E. Tail is another word for story, but tail spelt T-A-I-L is a part of an animal's body, this part of an animal's body. This story is called Tail End. I don't know the spelling. Maybe when the story finishes, you can understand the spelling. So, this story comes from, wherever you want it to come from. You see, it could be from Canada, or it could be from Scotland, but maybe it's from America or from Ireland, or maybe it's even from here in Catalonia. For you see, this story comes from anywhere in the world where there are red foxes. This animal here is a red fox. So this story is about a little girl called Anna and a red fox. Now one day Anna was on her way to school, and Anna had long hair, long red hair, and she always wore her long red hair tied back in a plait. And when Anna came to the bridge that she had to cross a river to go to her school, she saw that there was a fox on the bridge. The fox saw Anna coming, and the fox thought to himself, that little girl looks good to eat. I want her for my dinner. Now Anna came onto the bridge, and the fox said, good morning, little girl. And Anna said, good morning, fox. The fox said, would you like to come with me to my den? I have some gorgeous babies, my fox cubs. You could play with them. No, thank you, said Anna. Oh, said the fox, please come. I said no, said Anna, very firmly, no. The fox realised that if he wanted to get this girl into his den to eat her, he was going to have to be very cunning. Oh, little girl, he said, oh no, little girl, oh no, there is running water under this bridge and I am so frightened I cannot cross. But my babies are on the other side. Please help me to cross the bridge. If I could just take your hair, your long plait, in my mouth, then I could cross the bridge with your help." Anna realised she was going to have to think carefully how to deal with this wily fox. Then she said, "Okay, fox, I think I can help you, but first you must close your eyes. That way you won't see the running water and it will be easier for me to help you." And so the fox closed his eyes, and Anna took... No, she didn't take her hair, did she? She took the fox's tail. She took the fox's tail and she put the fox's tail in the fox's mouth. And then she said to the fox, "Well, fox, you now have my long hair in your mouth and I can help you to cross the bridge. But whatever you do, do not let go of my hair. Hold on tight." And the fox had, of course, cheated and opened his eyes just a little bit. But when he saw red hair, he thought it was Anna's hair. He didn't realise it was his own tail. And so he started pulling. He thought, now I can pull and pull and pull and pull her all the way to my den and eat her. And so the fox pulled and pulled and pulled and pulled so hard that his tail broke off. "Oh!" the fox cried, screeching in agony. "What has just happened?" "Oh," said Anna, "you have come to the end of your tail." And she skipped off to school. And so I too have come to the end of my tales here for the Biblioteca in Taradell, the library in Taradell. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.